And I will do the same type of intro that I did last time, just something pretty casual. Welcome back, everybody, to the second episode of New Media Lab's Creator Lab with me, Rob Southgate, and with Kevin Long. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
You're going to be doing a lot better in a second when I start talking about what has happened with your show this week.
Okay.
So let's go back, we'll do a little recap of what we did last week. I've got some suggestions. Before I get to the suggestions, though, I do want to talk about what happened, which you don't know about. So first of all, last week what we talked about was I gave you homework. I wanted you to write a detailed description, and I wanted you to come up with a tag, and I wanted you to get me some hashtags that we could use for not only social media, but for tagging the show. You did not send me the tag.
Yeah.
Which is okay. Just hold on. I took what you wrote. You sent me a paragraph. And actually, I'm going to pull that up too. And that way we can read your paragraph. Then I'll explain what I changed a little bit. And actually, it's any of these kind of things, and this is an important point, should be looked at as a living document. It shouldn't be the kind of thing that you go, yep, I did it, done. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's where we run into trouble. So here's what you wrote. Your description that we were adding as the show description, not an individual episode. It said, there is a rich history of tabletop gaming, and in the Kevin Long Show, Kevin and his guest talk about all the editions of Dungeons & Dragons. In some of the shows, Kevin builds characters after reading the complete handbook, and other weeks he talks about character concepts and other story outlines. Not bad. Not bad. I made some tweaks to it. Basically, what I did do it is I wanted it to flow a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted to let me read it. I got a couple of things out of there that were unnecessary words, unnecessary language, so that we could actually make it read a little bit better and add a little bit more to it. And in fact, even reading it now, I want to add a couple of things that we could do later. So here's your description. There is a rich history of tabletop gaming, and on the Kevin Long Show, Kevin and his guests talk about all the editions of Dungeons & Dragons. Kevin and his guests build characters after reading the complete handbook, talk about character concepts, and discuss various story outlines. So you see, it's a little more defined.
I like it.
A little more to work from. What I want to add, as I was reading it, first of all, I said Kevin and his guests twice. I'm going to change that. I also want to get in some of our keywords. Now, this is where we went into the hashtags, and you came up with 4. Now, where did you find those?
I don't think I typed in the right address that you gave me, but I typed in #Tagify, and it brought me to like a little, kind of like a BibMe, where I just typed in Dungeons & Dragons, and that's what it gave me.
Right. You did. You were in this right place, I'm sure.
Okay.
So here's what you missed. And this is something that is good to know, because it's probably because I've done it enough that I figured out, oh, don't forget this part of it. You typed in Dungeons & Dragons and did search.
Uh-huh.
In your hashtags, you did not write Dungeons & Dragons. Guess what word probably needs to be there?
Dungeons & Dragons.
Right. So the other thing, and this is the part that I figured out a while ago because I wasn't paying attention. I was like, oh, I want to do Dungeons & Dragons. Boom. Here's what I got. D&D 5e, D&D, RPG, and tabletop. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Each of those I should type in and see what it gets, because what if something is bigger?
Right.
So I went through all the different iterations, and here's what I came up with, going off of what you had. Oh, what you had, those weren't the ones you gave me. You gave me 5e dice, 5e fantasy, and gaming. All excellent. I added to that D&D 5e, Dungeons & Dragons, D&D, RPG, and tabletop. And the way I came about those was by typing in, like I typed in D&D.
Right.
And I got some different ones. I typed in RPG was terrible. It just gave you like Asian letters. It didn't really do it. But typing in 5e, D&D 5e, it gave me a couple of different things.
Wonderful.
So now we have 8. And in fact, let's see if I have any others on here. I did put Dragon Magazine because that is actually another potential one. I think that's the only one I added. So we have 9 different tags we can use. Those went in tags and keywords on Libsyn, but Kevin, those are not really valuable. iTunes doesn't use tag right. words, tags and keywords. What they're valuable for is you want to have that list, and when you do your social media throughout the week to promote this episode, you want to use those hashtags. We'll get into that in a second. So we came up with your description. We came up with a good set of hashtags, a solid set of hashtags. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Today I posted an episode. It was of your Monday. I can't think of the name because I'm drawing a blank.
Magic Monday?
Magic Monday. I posted a new Magic Monday today. And do you mind me giving how many downloads you get on an episode?
No, that would be amazing.
Okay. We'll get there. So I posted a Magic Monday today, and on this episode, I did these things. I not only changed your description this week and updated it and added those tags. On the description this week, when I posted it, I added those to the specific episode. I also took something you said in your description and made that your subtitle. So now on every episode we publish, your subtitle says, Kevin and his guests talk all about the editions of Dungeons and Dragons. So now Dungeons and Dragons hits as a single word, as multiple words. If somebody is searching for it, it shows up as an important word to Google. So now Google knows this show is about Dungeons and Dragons.
Sweet.
Okay, so now we are in a much better place. We've niched down like we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten those keywords in here. And the other thing I did then was the stuff that was my part of this. So I went in to your to the settings, and I made sure you were updated on the various platforms. And guess what I found? I had dropped the ball. So I did not have in here some of the different things. So I added your Facebook. This is in settings on Libsyn. If you go to settings, you can put in keywords and email and all that stuff. I put in the Facebook URL. I put in your Twitter handle. What I found was you were not posting to, I put in iTunes too, even though it was posting to iTunes, I put in that address so it goes faster. You were not posting to TuneIn Radio. You were not posting to Stitcher. You were not posting to Google Play or Google Podcasts or Spotify. You are now. So I went through and I made sure every one of those, even though technically they don't add up to much for most shows, you're there now, or you will be in the next couple of days. Those, even though you think, well, you know what, if Apple is 95% of the downloads, why do I need to be on all of them? You do. You need to be on all of them. Because what if your show, what if the people that listen to TuneIn Radio are totally into your Dungeons and Dragons show, and you get 400 downloads on that on TuneIn Radio, and iTunes gets you 20? We don't know. So the point is, for everybody making podcasts out there, get them in every channel you can, unless that channel is paying you. If Stitcher says we want you to be exclusive and here's a bunch of money to do it, heck yeah, I'll be exclusive. But if they haven't done that, why would you stay with one? Put it everywhere. Get it where the customer is. Get it in front of them. That was something I hadn't done. It's done.
Perfect.
Now, let's get into the thing you really want to hear about.
Okay, let's do it.
Today, we post this episode.
Right.
On average, when we post a new episode, you get about 20 downloads of that particular, like that day.
Okay.
I'm not going by particular episode. I'm going by downloads on your feed. Okay.
Okay.
This is an important thing to clarify, because the number I'm going to give you is not today's episode did this number. It's your feed did this number today. And if you look at your feed average, it's a couple a day, and then I'll post an episode and you'll get like 20. Okay? Which you and I have been happy with so far. We're like, hey, why not? It's 20 people heard you. That's pretty rocking great, right?
Yeah.
Okay, today I added those keywords. I updated the description. I added it to those other things, but that's not live yet. So the only one that was really live was iTunes. You had 100 downloads today.
Wow.
And it's only 1 o'clock.
That's awesome.
In Chicago. So yeah, man, I think it had an effect. We'll find out tomorrow. If it continues, if we start seeing that every day, let's say it goes up to 20 a day when we're not posting something, guess what? Those little tweaks had an effect. And if they didn't, I'll eat my hat, because I'm telling you, I know it did.
Right.
So there you go. We are on our way to building audience. Now, before we move into the next thing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask one thing.
Yeah.
On this show, I like to get whatever question you have before I start giving out assignments. So what kind of questions do you have?
The question today is going to be, how do we get more involved with our audience? In the New Media Lab, you talked about engaging your audience, and I want to know how to be better at, here's the topic we have this week, let's do it. Because I know how to engage the shows that I'm listening to on social media. I just don't know how to get people to engage my show.
Excellent. Oh, Kevin, you made my day. What my assignment is this week ties into this.
Perfect.
Okay, so we're going to jump ahead from, like, normally what the idea of this show was I was going to help do these little building blocks to try to help make your show a brand and build it up.
Right.
And after we talked last week, I thought, okay, well, these were some really basic things, getting those notes right and everything, getting the hashtags. Then I thought, well, you want to see more motion, even though I think what we had today was pretty darn good motion. 5 times we just went up by 500%.
Sure.
That's good. I want to see it keep going. So you're right. Engagement is a key to everything. Now, this is going to be a slower burn, but we're going to try something.
Okay.
So first of all, let's go over what social media platforms you have the show on. What do you have them on?
I do Facebook and Twitter are the ones that I most active on, but I do have an Instagram account.
Okay. And the Instagram account, is that for Swamp It? Is it for the Kevin Long Show, or is it yours personal?
It's a personal one.
It's a personal. Okay, let's take that one off the table.
Okay.
That's not what we need to use. Although I would suggest thinking about at some point getting an Instagram that is the Kevin Long Show Instagram. Okay. Here's why. With these different platforms, if you have a Kevin Long Show Instagram, when we post something, you can post like 17 hashtags and it's not weird.
Okay.
And this is something that I've said before to people, and I get brushback. I don't get brushback from people that actually know the social media kind of etiquette and rules. I get it from people that are like, no, it doesn't really matter, or no, I do it this way. Well, great. There are no hard and fast rules, but there are some things that do make a difference. So first of all, let's talk about these. Instagram, you can do up to 17 hashtags. There is a trick to get more, but if you have 17 good hashtags, you're off to the races, okay? When you're using Instagram, and let's just talk about that for a second, and then we'll move on to what matters to you. Instagram is a visual medium, so you want to make sure you take like the artwork from the show if you have some, and if you don't, let's start. We'll talk about that on another episode, Kevin.
Okay.
If you have behind the scenes pictures, or like in your case, you do gaming throughout the week, take pictures of like your books, take pictures of your dice, take pictures of things related to D&D. Even if it's a page out of the book or a quote out of one of the books, or when you do your monster of the week, your Magic Monday, you take a picture of that from the book and you post it on Instagram and you're like, Hey, it's the bag of holding. That's what we're talking about this week. That works beautifully.
Okay.
Those hashtags are things people are looking for. And you put in a good amount of them. And it can be like I do things when I post, because I'm kind of a coffee addict. I take pictures for Instagram where I'm holding a coffee cup and I'm like, hey, I'm podcasting today. And I'll hashtag podcast, podcaster, Chicago podcasting, media, new media, coffee addict, like all these things. And you'd be surprised. I have a huge amount of followers that are like these coffee bloggers. I have a huge amount that are podcasters. Like, because I use those hashtags, it gets noticed.
Okay.
But you don't do Instagram yet. So we're not going to worry about that for this week. What I want you to do is we're going to do a Facebook and a Twitter strategy. Okay?
Okay.
You want to pick those. You've got those 9 hashtags, right?
Right.
Now on Facebook, I know they take hashtags, but it's actually been tracked. If you read some of these sources about social media, about what works and what doesn't, they say hashtags don't really work on Facebook. In fact, the posts without hashtags tend to do a little bit better than the ones with. I don't know why. It makes no sense.
What about when you click on the activity tag and type in listening to Gaming with Scott?
I think that's all good.
Okay.
So it's just like I said, if you can be everywhere with your podcast, feel free to use hashtags and be everywhere with this.
Okay.
That's all good stuff. And when you say you're listening to Gaming with Scott, that's an excellent thing. I wish everybody did that for every show they're listening to, because it tells people where you are. It might entice them to listen. I know that I've clicked on shows when I've seen that pop up. So that's an excellent practice from a personal standpoint and also from your show, because if it says Kevin Long is listening to Gaming with Scott, anyone that follows you is going to see that and be like, oh, look, there's another gaming podcast. This is cool. You want to build that like reciprocity between the podcasts. And if you mention a podcast, make sure you tag them. Put an @Gaming with Scott. When we do this, we need to make sure we put, hey, Gaming with Scott, we talked about you on today's show.
Right.
Okay. So I've got 2 thoughts here with Twitter. With Twitter, you want to use no more than 2, maybe 3 hashtags. I know you can use more. It starts to look cluttery. People don't look at them sometimes when it has too much. It starts to look like a bot. Okay. So if you have 2 hashtags, you're in good shape. Now you have 9 hashtags to work with. What that should mean to you is, hey, every time I post, maybe I want to switch up those hashtags.
Right.
Okay. An easy way to do it is to use an app called TweetDeck, where you can go in, you sign in, you've got your Twitter account. When you can go in and say, here's what I want the tweet to say, here's the image I want to use with it. Always use an image on Twitter. If it's just text, people go right past it.
Okay.
Okay. So they see the image, they read the thing. On TweetDeck, you can schedule it. So now you can say, you know what? I want to make sure that my show is hitting on Tuesday. I want to make sure that between 7 a.m. and noon, like once an hour, a tweet goes out that says, hey, we've got a new episode today. You can send the same tweet all 5 times. Let's say you're doing 5 on that day.
Okay.
You can send the same tweet, just change the hashtags on each of them.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can change up your verbiage a little bit so it's a little bit more interesting. If you're doing like the bag of holding, maybe there's a couple of different images of bags of holding, or images that would be kind of cool that you'd be like, yeah, I could put this on here. Or even the show logo for one of them. Okay. So you're changing it up a little bit. You don't have to do 20 tweets a day. Okay. But the day it launches, maybe 5 would be really good.
Okay.
The other thing you can do then is, let's say, as we're starting, in fact, we will do it this way. For this week, do 5 on the day it launches. You had Magic Monday happen today. Figure out 5 tweets, okay? And space them out like once an hour.
Okay.
We can get into timing and all that another time. I don't care what it is. Right now, 5 tweets, different hashtags. Use them up, okay? And if you want to do a few more, you can. Keep in mind that a tweet has a 20-minute lifespan at best. So don't worry that, oh my gosh, I'm tweeting too much. The person looking at the tweets, unless they're only looking at your feed, you're going to go away and they're not going to care that you're tweeting it every hour.
Right.
Make sense?
Yep.
So let's start with Twitter with that. And then set another thing. Today is Monday. Your show hit today. So set up 5 tweets. I want you to do the exact same thing on Thursday with the same show. But now put ICYMI in case you missed it in all caps.
Okay.
Do it with the hashtag and put that first. So it's in case you missed it. I had a new show post, a new Magic Monday posted on Monday. Check it out. Or we did a Magic Monday about blank today. Check it out. And then use your hashtags. So now you're doubling up, you're getting double the hit. And it is alerting people that you have this show out there and what it's about. Okay, so that's one thing. We'll try that. You're talking a maximum of or a minimum of 10 tweets over the course of between now and next Monday. Let's see what happens. And if you're like, man, I can't do that today, set them for tomorrow. Do it tomorrow and Thursday. Okay?
Sounds good.
For the regular Kevin Long show, do it. What do we post on Wednesday? Oh, we post that on Thursday. So I'm going to switch it up on you, man.
Okay.
Do either today or tomorrow. For Thursday, do 5 for the Kevin Long show.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday, do in case you missed it for Magic Monday. And on Monday of next week, do 5 in case you missed it for the Kevin Long show.
Okay.
Let's see if these numbers change. Now, Facebook, this goes back to your question.
Yeah.
Finally, Mr. Long-Winded got back to the question. You ask about engagement. So one way to do it, or to try, and you may get some, you may not. But on your Facebook page, we posted a new episode today. Make sure you post a link to it, but you want to say something to engage. Okay. Has anybody used this? What was the Magic Monday today?
Let's go look and see.
The one that hit today was the deck of many things.
Perfect.
So is there a question related to the deck of many things that you could ask? Is there
lots of questions.
Yeah. So ask a question or say, Magic Monday, deck of many things, discussion thread. And then put a thing, and then put a description underneath that says like, let's talk about the deck of many things, and then ask your questions. What experience have you guys had? What was the best time you used it, or whatever it is? Okay. And hopefully you'll get somebody that'll write. Now, here's the key with all of that. You're chumming the water by saying, hey, I want you to talk to me. As soon as somebody talks to you, make sure it doesn't have to be in that minute, but before you go to bed at night, make sure that every interaction has had a reaction from you.
Right.
Say something back. Engage with them. Get them in conversation. Okay?
Okay.
You may or may not get any. That's okay. You got to keep doing it. You want to know how those shows get interaction? This is exactly how they get interaction.
Perfect.
I have a lot more to say about how to manipulate all of this, but for now, I think that gives you a good, solid thing to work from. Your homework is do those tweets and make a thread for this episode that gets conversation going.
Okay.
Cool?
Sounds great.
Any other questions, Kevin?
Not at the moment.
All right. Well, I hope this is working for people. I hope they're getting some good information. Like I said, the Creators Lab is a way more casual discussion. I try to come in with an idea that I want to share and a homework I want to share, and Kevin tries to come in with a question. I hope it's helping. And I hope it's going to help you, Kevin, because I'm telling you, jumping up to 100 downloads today, that was shocking to me. So let's hope that train continues.
Yes, for sure.
Why don't you give your social media?
You can find us on Facebook. Just type in The Kevin Long Show, and you can find us on Twitter at The Swamp Pit.
Great. And he will have a thread for the episode so you can get in conversation about this episode. And please do. And Kevin, I'm going to give you one more tip before I go.
Yeah.
And this is something that when I said give your social media, you should have done. And I want to make it so that it's ingrained in you. And it should also be on your show notes, which it's not. Give your email.
Okay.
So make sure you give your email whenever you can, because a lot of people, even though you say, here's my Twitter, here's my Instagram, here's my Facebook, here's my YouTube channel, a lot of people engage through email. So give it and make sure it's in your show notes. And actually, your homework there, last thing, is text me or tweet me or message me with your email. And I'll put it on your show notes going forward.
Sweet.
So what's your email, Kevin?
You can email us at thekevinlongshow@gmail.com.
Perfect. See, we're gonna get you in good habits, and I can't wait to see where this goes. Wouldn't it be cool if we actually made this show rock the house?
That would be great.
I think it can. I love the show. All right, Kevin, thank you so much. And everybody else, we will talk to you on Thursday with the next episode of New Media Lab. I hope you enjoyed this last one with Brent Hand. The next one coming up, I am going to feature, I don't know who. I'm going to have to cut that little bit out. Let me see who it is. Did you listen to the last episode?
I did. That's where today's question came from.
Yeah, Brent had a lot to say.
Yeah. And as soon as I get more caught up on what I'm already listening to, I'm going to add Hysteria 51 to my playlist.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. All right, I got it. So this week's guest is Andrea Klunder. And Andrea is awesome. She does a thing where she's your podcast boss. I've been interviewed. Martha and I got interviewed by her at a Women in Podcasting Festival. She was on the SMG Podcast Festival out at Blue Box Cafe. She is really fantastic, has wonderful ideas, and you're probably going to want to listen to her show in conjunction with this show as soon as you get a load of what she has to say. So the guest for this Thursday is Andrea Klunder from Your Podcast Boss. You're going to love it. All right, that's it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chantal. I'm hanging up. I will post this tomorrow, but do those things. Let's see if it makes a difference.
I sure will.
All right. We'll talk to you.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.